All right, and welcome to Not Suitable for Adults. We're a podcast with a father and a mother who have a child, and we watch the television when movies and shows are on.
We watch so much television.
And we tell you what we like and what we don't like.
All of that is exactly what this podcast is.
Yes.
Good work.
I'm Rich.
I'm Natalie.
There's a show I haven't talked about that I really like.
Mm-hmm.
And is it one that Korra watches?
No.
No. Is it a kid's show?
No.
Yes, it is. It definitely is. The show I'm referring to is Star Wars: The Clone Wars. And this is an important one, not just because I think it's a good show. Ultimately, we'll talk about the good and the bad. But it came out not that long ago when Disney Plus launched. Shortly after, it came out with a never before released final season, and which was also good. And it has some important characters in it from the Star Wars universe, and it's for kids and adult kids.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to talk about Star Wars: The Clone Wars.
Do it.
The big thing about Star Wars: The Clone Wars that you need to know going in is that there was a very bad, I think it actually even had a theatrical release, animated movie called Star Wars: The Clone Wars that came out in not long after the prequel trilogy had finished.
Is it one of those prequels that shall not be named called The Clone Wars?
No, it's called Attack of the Clones.
Oh, so dumb. I freaking hate this.
So
I love Star Wars.
But she doesn't like the prequels.
Mm-mm.
That's a whole other thing.
Mm-mm.
You don't have to like the prequels necessarily to enjoy the show, I would say.
Okay.
So the movie's not good. George Lucas, bless his soul, is the person who is always trying to find new and better graphics and animation and movie making stuff. And he tried his hand at an animated movie, and the animation is not bad, but the story itself is not great. And that's unfortunate because of who it introduces.
Was this before the Kathleen Kennedy takeover? Or
yes.
Okay. So George Lucas was still just being Lucasfilm. He's the guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is one of the only things that happened, I believe, in that time frame, and I'm squinting my eyes because I'm not positive now. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's right because the sixth season was right near that the sale of Lucasfilm, I believe. I don't have the facts in front of me because you know me. So the thing is, in this movie, we're introduced to a young Padawan whose name is Ahsoka Tano. And she comes...
Yoko Ono?
No, Ahsoka Tano.
Oh, okay.
And so she comes on the scene as a sort of smart-mouthed little upstart Padawan, and she comes to the front lines of the war.
Sorry.
Okay.
Is this the movie that you're talking about? Okay.
What I'm doing right now is I'm explaining the movie because you shouldn't have to watch the movie.
Okay.
I'm saving everyone here from watching the movie because it's not great.
Oh, that's very kind of you.
So we meet Ahsoka Tano, and she goes to the front line of the Clone Wars, and they think that she is Obi-Wan's new apprentice.
I thought you were going to say Obi-Wan's daughter or something.
Obi-Wan's new apprentice. And nope, it turns out she's been assigned to Anakin. And so she's Anakin's Padawan.
Okay.
And so the movie is very silly. She invents this nickname for Anakin. She calls him Sky Guy all the time. And it's basically about him sort of finding a place of humility to teach from, and her sort of learning what needs to be done to become a good learner but maintain her personality. and it's exactly as good as it sounds. The show, though, Star Wars: The Clone Wars, is much better.
So it's a spin-off show.
It was the movie was a planned like super pilot release. It was meant to kick off the show.
Oh, so the show still follows this girl.
Yeah.
Okay, but in a better way.
Yeah.
Okay.
It still follows the characters of Anakin and Obi-Wan and Padme at times and Jar Jar at times. But I would
all
say
of the best Star Wars characters.
I would say that in the end, the characters that we follow the most are Ahsoka and the clones, and which makes it sort of, for me, interesting because it fills in a gap that is missing maybe from the rest of that story. And so Ahsoka turns into a very talented young Padawan. She's one of the only Jedi that learns how to always dual wield lightsabers. So she always has two. And she sort of is like our view into the relationships between these other big main characters during that time. We do get some of the like Anakin and Padme relationship a little bit.
That's a hard pass for
me. We get some hijinks from the droids and from Jar Jar. And that's worse towards the beginning, and it gets much better towards the end. It starts focusing on what the dark side users are doing during this time, and all the time sort of Ahsoka is learning to be a better Jedi. It's a really good show. It's hard to go into the whole thing because it's 7 seasons, and also I don't want to spoil it because it is one with some information. Like if you're passingly interested in Star Wars and you haven't seen this yet, there's some stuff in there that you will recognize that some of their interactions are spoilery. So I don't want to go into the whole thing. But it just occurred to me the other day that this is a show that I really like, and I've watched most of the episodes at least once. I haven't done I don't think a solid double run through, but I've watched a lot of the episodes several times. It's just really good if you need sort of some bite-sized Star Wars, especially as you get further into the series itself. And Ahsoka becomes a very important TV universe of Star Wars character. She ends up being someone who, like, her story weaves through most of what's happening now with, like, the TV shows and the books. She plays a major role in those now, which is a cool thing. We didn't have a female version of that. Like, to take nothing from Princess Leia, I would say, she sort of filled that need for young girls of this generation to have sort of a female Jedi to look up to.
Nice.
Which is
Power
a cool thing.
to the ladies.
Yeah.
I loved being able to see, you can say what you will about the newer Star Wars films, but I loved seeing the portrayal of Leia becoming her own sort of Jedi and learning to use the Force and taking on Luke and, sparring and stuff like that. I enjoyed seeing that. So it's nice to know that there's another female representative out there. I'm not going to watch it just because that sort of thing doesn't interest me as much. But I'm glad to know she's there.
Yeah. It is definitely worth a watch for kids over the age of 7, I would say. But also, honestly, it's not that kiddie. It's pretty Star Wars-y. So if you're into Star Wars, it's good. And that leads well into like the other shows like Rebels and things like that. And there's even some rumors that Ahsoka may be involved in some of the live action stuff that's coming up in the next few years. So
okay,
she's going to be an important one.
We'll keep an eye out for Yoko Ono.
Ahsoka Tano.
Okay.
Another show that we finished together that we did like, although I guess we have some some things to discuss on this final season is Avatar: The Legend of Korra.
Yeah, we've talked about Korra a couple of times with you guys before, just telling you about what we had seen and everything, and we had just not gotten into the last season yet. And we kind of binged it this past week. And I think we kind of have similar views about the final season of Korra.
Yeah, I think you have a little stronger feelings about it than I do.
I always have stronger feelings than you do when it comes to entertainment. Book 4 of The Legend of Korra takes place 3 years later after book 3.
Yeah.
First off, I thought that was unnecessary. Maybe a break, because at the end of 3, Korra gets hurt and she needs some time to recuperate. I don't think it needed to take 3 years. My opinion. She hasn't seen any of her friends that we have seen her grow into the Avatar with in those 3 years. So nobody knows where she is. Nobody knows what she's been doing.
So we should set up that at the end of book 3, she's badly injured and she's shaken. She's been sort of...
She's got like a PTSD thing going on.
Yeah. And so at the end of book 3, they say that she's going to go off and heal and she'll come back when she's ready. I agree. 3 years seems sort of interesting. I don't know if maybe there was a long break between the seasons actually coming out, or if they maybe needed to explain maybe some differences in some of the characters. Like, for instance, I didn't look this up, but I think maybe the voice of Mako was different. He didn't. He sounded different to me in this season. So maybe they were trying to cover up some changes in the cast. I'm not sure.
I mean, that's a possibility. I can look it up really quickly and see when it came out. But tell me, I feel like we have similar thoughts, but tell me your thoughts on the final season.
So I didn't think the final season was bad, but I did think it was the weakest of the 4 seasons. It was... So the general synopsis is that there's this Earth Kingdom leader who has sort of risen up at the end of that previous time, where the Air Nation had been reborn in season 3, and after that was done and sort of those bad guys were put down, this Earth Nation military leader decided it's time to reunite all of the various states of the Earth Kingdom, and she's doing that sort of in a dictatory way. And some of Team Avatar actually sees this as a good thing. They're like, yeah, we need unification, and that's sort of what it's about. And they're not really paying attention to the bad stuff that she's doing. And they sort of get drawn into her plans for a while there. The thing about this season is that the bad guy isn't that bad.
Right. That's what I felt like. I felt like as a final season, it was weak as far as being in suspense.
Yeah, there wasn't any, you never had a moment where you were like, I wonder if this is the real bad guy. Like they sort of always have it there. And let's be clear. The stuff that she's doing is bad. Like, she's going through and she's subduing each sort of city state in this place and threatening them with her giant army, who are all like metal benders, and that they're all going to sort of take over. And so she's not a good person. It's not like she's like in a gray area. She's not good.
But see, she's also just a really good earth and metal bender.
Yeah.
When our bad guy in book 3 found out the way to like do a ton of stuff.
Yeah, he was like one of the new airbenders and was already a fan of like airbending culture and was a master the moment he
He could
came into that
freaking
power.
fly.
He reactivated a long lost ability of flight. And that's been true for all of the Avatar baddies so far. They've been exceptional in some way. They've been like, the guy before that was deeply tied and was the most powerful spiritual person and had a deep connection to the spirits. And before that, it was a person who had discovered this ability to block bending with water bending that no one knew how to do, and took down people with this just tiny little motion. He barely had to do anything to just put people down. Or in The Last Airbender, frickin' Fire Lord Ozai was a crazy dragon man. Like, he was incredibly powerful.
Right. And I don't know, I was looking at this while you were talking just then, so I was slightly listening.
That's okay.
Did you mention that guy in book 3 could take people's breath out of their bodies?
Oh yeah.
Like, he could kill somebody by he was an airbender, he just took the breath right out of them.
Yeah, it was bad.
And that's legit kind of, ooh, that's interesting. This lady in the final season is just kind of like a really good metal bender.
Yeah, she's just really mean.
Yeah, and very driven and, not going to back down.
Now, it's worth mentioning that she sort of does a thing, and I think the way they make up for the fact that she's not an especially powerful bender is the power that is the weapon that she comes up with, which take away the fact that it's like a giant iron giant guy, which was kind of corny.
That kind of came out of nowhere, and I was just kind of like,
But she with the help of some of our friends, she comes across this ability to use these spirit vines to tap into a spiritual energy that is extremely powerful. Mm-hmm. And so
she basically uses those to make a giant laser gun.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it is. And it's fine. It's not good for a final season to me.
Yeah. And
it needed to be sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh, it needed to be a middle season.
Yeah, we talked about this, that even the story itself would have made a really good season 2 out of 4.
Yeah.
Because at the end of season 1, Korra has figured out how to airbend and she can bend everything now. If there was immediately a threat in the world that was now here's a military bad guy that you need to sort of establish yourself with the world, because that first season happens all in Republic City, and is all about her just overcoming Amon and really coming into her own as the Avatar. And then this would have been a great first mission for first worldwide thing for the Avatar, is taking down this military person, which ends up with a connection to the spirit world through the spiritual weapons, which would then go into what was season 2, which was all about the spirits. The themes of each of the seasons would have flowed well together.
Yes. I would have done the first season, and then I would have done, the spirits, yes, after this last one, which was called Balance. Mm-hmm. And then I guess the third season I would have actually put last.
Yeah, and then the series would have ended with the reawakening of the Air Nation, which would have been a cool resolution for the world at that point.
By the way, they aired at normal times. Actually, the longest stint was between books 1 and 2.
Okay.
So that was the middle of 2012 to the end of 2013. Mm-hmm. And then it was September 2013 to June 2014, and then that June to that October.
Gotcha.
So, and it looks like Mako was always played by the same person.
Okay. So no good reason other than they just wanted to give enough story time for her to have been able to take over the entire Earth Kingdom. Yeah,
I mean, I guess. It just, I don't know.
I think the big complaint with this one for both of us is that, really for The Legend of Korra in general, is that there's not a unifying story.
There's not an overarching thing through the whole books. In Airbender, there was an overarching mission through all of the seasons.
Yeah.
In this, there is not an overarching mission. There is individual missions in each book.
For sure.
And so that makes the final season just like any of the others.
Yeah.
To me. A lot of people, and we found this to be slightly surprising, but only because they set it up.
Because it also kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah, they only set it up maybe like 2 or 3 episodes from the last episode is the relationship between, should I say? This has been out since 2014.
Yeah, it's, we know by now. Anytime we say something, it's spoilers. Yeah. So
the relationship between Asami and Korra. So they end up at the end having what is confirmed by the creators of Korra, a relationship, and they are listed as bisexual characters because both of them also dated and were in love with Mako at one point.
Right.
And so they are bisexual and they have a relationship by the end of the last episode, and it's kind of.
I mean, just sort of the series ends with them just sort of sitting on the steps, like, "Hey, can I hang out?" And they just are like, "Yeah," talking about how crazy the last few days have been. Kind of like, "Man, what a time!" And then they're like, "What are we going to do now?" I don't know. Let's go to the spirit world. And they sort of walk to the spirit portal and then grab each other's hands and step into the portal light. And then they face each other. And then the light it's like fade to white.
Right.
And that's the end of the story.
So we actually had to look up and see what the creators had intended for them because it's not 100% clear. Because we know that they're very good friends. We didn't realize... But don't you remember as maybe... Again,
like 3 episodes from the end.
Yeah, maybe 3 episodes from the end. Or the... What's that called?
The penultimate?
Yeah, sure.
The second to last episode.
Yeah. Didn't I turn to you and I said, are they gonna...
Yeah, there's this one moment where Asami says something to Korra that's kind of like flirty.
Or it's
even just risque.
More tender.
Yeah, and they do that sort of animation like blush on Korra's face.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Oh, did you not? It was in that moment. It's like there's this moment where Korra sort of blushes when Asami says something.
Oh.
Yeah, and I assume that's what you said because they drew that in, and I was like, oh, okay.
I must have just from context clues.
Gotcha.
But yeah,
and here's the deal: we've talked now about some stories where this ends up being the conclusion, and that's great. Like,
it's fine. I have nothing against that relationship.
What makes this different from like She-Ra, at least for me, and I know you didn't see She-Ra,
right?
Is we don't have we have history between these characters, and everything about the history of these characters doesn't lead us to believe that they're interested in each other in this way until the last possible second.
No, they actually semi-fight over this boy.
Yeah.
Well, they really don't fight over him.
No,
now that I'm thinking about it.
Not once they both realize it.
They're in competition with him and for him.
And in hindsight, like at the beginning of the season, we find out that Korra was writing, but only writing to Asami. But they just make it seem like I didn't want to write to you, Mako, because it was maybe awkward. Or I didn't want to write to you, Bolin, because I figured you were doing your own things. And so like they reason away why she would be the only one that Korra was writing to sort of like just have an escape to have a pen pal. They don't give you any they don't give you any clues, any like concrete clues. And so from a story perspective, I would say even if this was like, this would be exactly the same for me if like Bolin had gone over and sat down next to her and been like, man, what a crazy day. And then they stood up and like walked off into the spirit energy together. Because it came out of nowhere.
Right. It would have been the same way whether she had done that with any of them.
Right.
Just because it really wasn't set up for us in a kind of, like I said, you know what? Fine. not, no, I don't have a problem with it. It's just the, I guess I didn't feel like there was enough story behind it.
Yeah.
To set it up as a reasonable conclusion.
Yeah.
But, I'm several things in this last season I felt like weren't reasonable conclusions, really. I feel like we didn't see some of our favorite characters and what they ended up doing at the very end.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw Korra and Asami together, and we saw, them all together as friends, but not really any individual storylines were concluded.
Right.
Or wrapped up.
Except for what's his face and Julie.
Yeah, Julie and shoot. What's his name?
We love this guy and I can't think of his name now.
Hold on, let me think about it. His name is like Ferret or Ferric.
That's
I was going to say Fezzik.
Oh yeah.
But that's Princess Bride.
Yeah.
Or Ferret, but that's the animal.
That's an animal.
Yeah, love the storyline between Ferric and Julie.
Varric with a V.
Varric. Okay. But anyway,
Yeah.
I think we're done talking about Korra now.
Yeah, so to sort of wrap it up, the thing about this series overall is I think it's good. I think it's a series worth watching, but just keep in mind that this last season is kind of a weak season.
Yeah.
Overall, I like it. I would say, I think we would agree it's not better than Last Airbender.
No, Last Airbender is on a much higher level for me.
Yeah. So that's that one.
There's Korra.
And now that we've got 2 shows under our belt, we're going to take a quick pit stop in Promoville.
It's a beautiful day for a promo.
Nice.
Beautiful day.
In Promoville.
It's a beautiful day in Promoville, a beautiful day for a promo. Could you please listen to this promo?
I am Leighton.
And I am Christy.
And this is Cheers to Parenting,
a couple's guide to parenthood. On this bi-monthly podcast, we'll pull a topic from our parenting tip jar and then discuss.
Using parenting skills we've learned over the years of parenting our 3 children.
Which combined gives us 60-plus years experience with the good, bad, and ugly of parenthood.
Perfect kids?
Nope.
Expert parenting?
Absolutely not. But it's worked for us. Give us a listen at anchor.fm/cheers to parenting pod. Advice from birth
until you get them off your payroll.
And we're back.
Parenting break.
Yeah.
Because the 4-year-old is learning how to talk back.
The problem is she's like really smart.
Shit. Well, I mean, and we're not we're bragging a little bit because she's our kid, but also she just knows how to turn a phrase to make it her whatever she wants. Yeah. So, yeah.
But anyway,
it's rough.
Now that we're back from Promoville, Natalie, maybe we need to catch the bus here in Promoville. When we leave Promoville.
Thanks for that setup. I had my sister-in-law, Catherine, wanted me to do an episode on the Magic School Bus because Catherine grew up with it. Did you grow up with it?
Yeah, we watched it some when I was younger.
We didn't really watch it a lot, but as a lot of you know, I didn't watch a lot of things growing up.
I think I watched that first episode, the one where they go inside Arnold. I think I watched that one 100 times. I think that one was on a lot.
Mm-hmm. That one's a big deal, for sure. The Magic School Bus. Here we go. Right on the Magic School Bus.
The River of Lava.
I like River of Lava. Okay. It's based off the book series by Joanna Cole and Bruce Deegan. And in 1994, The Magic School Bus was made into an animated series.
It took the world by storm.
Yes, and it premiered in September of that year, 1994. Starring Lily Tomlin as Miss Frizzle.
No kidding.
Did you not know?
I didn't know that.
Really?
No.
Lily Tomlin of, in my opinion, West Wing fame.
Well, sure.
Because I just love her in West Wing. By the way, you guys, West Wing is one of my top 5, if not top 3. Ooh. Television series.
Yeah, it is definitely suitable for adults.
Lily Tomlin was Miss Frizzle.
Okay.
Still is, actually. Yeah. And it follows Miss Frizzle, who is a school teacher. She's a science teacher. And she takes her class on these amazing field trips that suit the subject of the day or the problem that a student is needing to solve.
Which is really what you want from a field trip. You want, relevant.
It needs to be relevant.
Trips.
At the end of the Magic School Bus episodes, they would have a producer says segment. So, they would have kids calling in. I'm sure you know of this. Call in, and it would be the producer that answered. And the producer would answer their real life questions. When I say real life questions, I mean, they probably did get questions, but it's not a real life scenario that's happening at the end. Do you know what I'm saying?
It's not like it's a live call. It's
right.
that they have a recorded question and then a person answers it.
Yes. And when it was syndicated for commercial networks, that was cut to make room for commercials.
Boo.
So not a lot of people that have seen only the syndicated versions of Magic School Bus will know the producer says segments. And those were only seen during the non-commercial networks, or in the non-commercial networks. On the VHS DVD releases.
And if I remember right, the producer says sections, those usually fixed a maybe continuity issue in the show that they're like I think, for instance, in the Arnold episode, I would think if I'm remembering right from my childhood with my ironclad memory.
I just watched it the other day and I'm not going to remember. If
I'm remembering right, I think the question there is about how they can see when they're inside. It's like the movie Inner Space where they're inside of his body. And I think the question from the kid is how would they be able to see in there? It's well, we had to. And it's not like a throwaway question. They actually talk about it, but they're well, yeah, there's no light inside.
Right.
It's a cartoon show.
This is a cartoon, kids.
Yeah.
We all know the theme song to Magic School Bus. It's called Ride on the Magic School Bus. And it was written by Peter Lurie. I hope I'm saying his name right. And he also either wrote or had songs in things like Elmo's World, Bear in the Big Blue House, Out of the Box.
Okay.
Did you ever watch Out of the Box?
Yeah.
Out of the Box. Gullah Gullah Island. He composed he composed that theme song.
Yeah, I can hear all those similarities. And the ones that you just listed that I know, I can hear some.
Yeah.
I can totally get that that's the same person.
And several others. It was performed by Little Richard in the original series, who, as you know, just recently died in May of this year. By the way, so he was 87 years old when he died. Do you know where he died?
Where?
Hold on to your hat.
I have no hat. I'm ready.
Tullahoma, Tennessee.
Really? Was he at Bonnaroo?
No, babe, that's in Manchester. Babe.
Dumb rich.
So, those of you that don't know, I am from that neck of the woods. I'm not from Tullahoma. I'm from a smaller town called
Near
McMinnville, near there, but Tullahoma I have very often frequented.
What was he doing in Tullahoma?
He had a family home there.
Really?
Yeah.
They should put that on a sign. How did that should have been a much bigger deal than it was for Tullahoma.
Hey guys, my Manchester friends, my T-Town friends, guess what? Little Richard died in Tullahoma. That was amazing to me. It was crazy to me. So it was the first fully animated series to be aired on PBS.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And the last episode of the original series aired at the end of 97.
Okay.
So the Magic School Bus was nominated and for several awards and won. So it was nominated for Outstanding Program, for, Emmys for Outstanding Program. Lily Tomlin won the Emmy Award in 1996 for an outstanding performer in an animated program.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good for you, Lily.
And she was nominated, from what I'm seeing here very quickly, maybe 4 times before she won. So, yeah, Lily Tomlin. Coolest.
Ooh.
Coolest. She's the coolest.
Got her.
Yeah. So that's the original. And as we know, as some of us know, we have the regular set of characters. We have Miss Frizzle. We have Liz, the lizard, who, by the way, is in charge when Miss Frizzle isn't around.
Obviously.
It's a lizard. Arnold, who is kind of the more cautious.
He's the worrywart of the classroom.
He's the worrywart. He's the one that says, I knew I should have stayed home today, Carlos, he's the jokester. And then you always hear them saying, oh, Carlos, or Carlos. They do that often.
You know how they do when he says a joke.
Yeah. Phoebe, who is the one that always says, at my old school.
Oh, she's the transfer.
Yeah. Then we've also got, and I'm just running through these really quickly. We've got Keisha, we've got Ralphie, we've got Tim and Wanda, and all of them have different things that they bring to the class, different personalities, different traits that they bring. So that's the original series. In 2014, the next series by Netflix was announced and was titled The Magic School Bus 360 Degrees. 360 with the degrees thing. So, it featured a modernized Miss Frizzle and a high-tech bus to just kind of try to get more interest in this interest in the sciences. In 2017, they announced that Kate McKinnon was cast in the role as Fiona Felicity Frizzle, who was going to come in as the younger sister of the original Miss Frizzle, who is now going to be a professor.
Ooh, good for you, Miss Frizz.
Also still played by Lily Tomlin.
That's cool.
Yes. By this point, the title of the series had changed to The Magic School Bus Rides Again.
So, Magic School Bus 360 was like the working title of the new show. Okay.
Right.
Okay, that makes me feel better because I thought that we were talking about like a VR version of the Magic School Bus, and I was like, that doesn't sound like a win.
The title 360 doesn't make sense to me.
Right.
And I'm glad that they probably had some focus groups that were like, I don't know what this means.
So Magic School Bus rides again.
Yes. And that's what they did. Fiona Felicity Frizzle, alliterations, came in as Miss Frizzle, who became a professor, is going out and she's a research professor who has to travel all around and everything like that. And Kate McKinnon plays the new Miss Frizzle, which, by the way, love Kate McKinnon.
Kate McKinnon's one of those really good voice actresses. She has a distinctive voice.
Very distinctive voice. And her voice is her voice. Mm-hmm. At first, when I saw her in Saturday Night Live and in other movies that she was doing, I thought she was putting on a voice.
Yeah. She kind of has one of these voices.
Yeah. you can't really do it.
She has a weird sort of throaty over-pronunciation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I saw her on something where she was just being her, and she has that voice.
Yeah.
And it's amazing to me. It's just such an interesting voice. Earlier, our dear listeners, I played the new theme song for Rich to see if he could guess who the new singer is of The Magic School Bus Rides Again. It is the same song that...
But re-recorded with a more modern artist.
Yes. And
I couldn't guess who it was. I thought it might be Donald Glover.
Childish Gambino.
Childish Gambino.
And it was not.
And it was not.
It is actually Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Oh, of course it is.
Come on, dude.
Get out of here, Lin.
And he does a great job. He does it so well that you almost don't really notice that it's different, but as soon as you hear it, you know who it is.
Yeah, it's more controlled. Like,
yes.
Yeah. It's, man, now that you're saying, I'm like, yeah, there's things in that that are very like Broadway singer.
Oh, yeah.
That you don't get from the
now
original version.
Now you're mad.
Just like you were. You said you were mad when you realized it too.
I know.
You felt like you should have figured it out.
Yeah, I should have.
That's me.
And that premiered on Netflix at the end of 2017, and the second season premiered in 2018. So there's 2 seasons on Netflix.
Oh, okay.
So Ms. Frizzle is retiring from teaching, and she passes the keys of the Magic School Bus over to her little sister, who is taking over her class of the same students. They're the same ones. They're the same ones.
Huh.
They're the same ones. Except for we have a new student. And her name is, and I'm going to butcher it, Jyoti, I think. Jyoti.
Okay.
And she's Indian American. She is replacing Phoebe, who was the one that said, at my old school, she transferred back to her old school.
Get out of here.
I just think that's so funny that Phoebe transferred back to her old school.
So the new character is from India.
She's Indian American.
Okay. I'm trying to make sure but you mean her family is from India, not her family. You're not saying Native American, you're saying Indian American.
It's listed as Indian American.
Okay. I just want to make sure I understood.
Okay. So she comes in as the new student in the class, but everybody else is the same person. And they all have pretty much the same exact characteristics and traits. The animation is much better, obviously. Mm-hmm. And everything is a little more high-tech as far as the school bus goes.
Now I'm thinking about how that works from a story perspective.
They just stay in this class all their lives.
Why do you do this to me, cartoon makers? This is just exactly the kind of thing where I'm like, that means that there are 5 seasons of television, 6 seasons of television, where the same kids are in the same class
mm-hmm.
with the same teacher. Mm-hmm. Except that
the teacher changes.
The teacher goes from being a elementary or middle school teacher to being a professor.
Yes.
And just gets to choose her successor.
Mm-hmm.
And naturally chooses her sister without any sort of interview process.
That's exactly right. Yes. Everything we love about now Professor Frizzle is the same with the new Miss Frizzle, in that they dress in the subject in which we're fixing to learn about. Mm-hmm. So, Ms. Frizzle in the original series always had very intricate dresses and skirts, and so does the new Miss Frizzle, and they always correspond to what we're going to learn about scientifically.
All right.
Let me see here. Just a couple more things. At the end of the episodes, instead of the producer answering questions, now it's Professor Frizzle that's answering the questions that the kids are calling in and asking questions to her now. When they first announced that they were going to be doing a new series on Netflix, there was a lot of initial resistance to the whole thing. I think because the Magic School Bus
it has a special place in our hearts.
Right. It's classic.
So classic.
Yeah. And they were worried that Lily Tomlin wouldn't be the main Miss Frizzle anymore.
Yeah, like if they were just going to straight up recast Miss Frizzle, that would be a whole other thing.
Right. And I did see an AOL article written when it first came out, and you first saw little shots of Professor Frizzle. So we saw Ms. Frizzle in the original, and now we're seeing Professor Frizzle, who is supposed to be the same person.
Mm-hmm.
AOL accused the show of giving Ms. Frizzle a nose job.
Thank you for that cutting.
Because the original series,
cutting content we all
in
need.
the original series, Miss Frizzle has a large kind of pointed nose. In this one, Professor Frizzle has more of a rounded face and smaller features. So people were irritated about the nose thing, apparently. This new series has won the Parents' Choice Silver Honor in 2018, the Common Sense Great for Families Seal in 2018, and was nominated for a Canadian Cinema Editors Award for Best Editing in Animation.
All right.
And that was nominated. Yeah. So everything is pretty much the same except better animation, more high-tech things. We've got Kate McKinnon, who is great. Mm-hmm. And it's still very educational and fun. And Cora and I watched a few episodes of it the other day, and Cora was pretty interested.
Good job, Magic School Bus.
One of the very first episodes, they go into maybe it's Ralphie that they go into.
I thought it was Arnold.
No, I'm saying in the new one.
Oh.
So they go into Arnold, I believe.
That's like the first episode of the original one, I thought.
Or is it the first episode of the newer one that they go into Arnold? They go into one of the kids in one of the first episodes. They always go into one of the kids. Yeah.
I saw you like mouth the word inner space earlier when I said that. Have you not seen that movie?
I thought you were talking about Interstellar.
No. There's a movie, I think it is.
Is it suitable for adults?
It is suitable for adults.
Well, this is not suitable for adults.
I know, but in case anyone is curious what I'm talking about, I'm pretty sure, and now I'm not positive, I think it's Martin Short is one of the characters. I think they go into Martin Short, but it's like Patrick Swayze is the is the guy. I'm not going to remember who the people are, and it'll just be funny if we imagine that, though.
Inner Space is a 1987 film. Stars Dennis Quaid. Martin Short, and Meg Ryan.
Yeah.
What the what?
So, yeah,
No, I have not seen this or heard of it.
Dennis Quaid is in this, like, little shrinking submarine that somehow is part of the story, and is inside Martin Short, and has to, like, navigate his way out of him, much like the episodes of the Magic School Bus we're talking about, except that there's a bad guy in there with him, too.
There's a bad guy inside of Martin Short?
Mm-hmm.
Great. The only bad guys we see in Magic School Bus are the red blood cells, and they are not bad guys.
No, they're doing their job.
They're doing their job. I would love for the Magic School Bus to go inside my body and figure out what's wrong with my blood. People don't know that I have killer blood.
Miss Frizzle just comes out with, like, a sad look on her face, like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
So I have, and I just found this out. What?
I'm ready. Let's talk about it.
Now you're looking all weird and jaunty and, like, sarcastic.
That's just me.
No, that's not.
Okay.
We just found out recently that I literally have killer blood. Like, I went to donate plasma, and apparently I have antibodies inside of my blood that my plasma would hurt other people's plasma. It's crazy to me. I'm pretty sure I'm the cure for the coronavirus.
Oh, man.
They just need to take out my killer blood and put it inside the coronavirus and taken care of. There. Done.
Well, this has been another episode of Not Suitable for Adults.
You're welcome.
You're welcome, as usual. We do thank you for spending your time with us. Hey, we'd love to hear from you.
Hey.
Go on over to especially Twitter, but all the social medias, or email. It's at Not For Adultscast. That's NOT, for, like the number, Adultscast. The same thing at gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you, how you feel about the show, or if there's shows or movies you wish we would review, or if you feel differently about shows that we've talked about, we want to hear from you. So please reach out to us there. We'd also love it if you would rate, review, and subscribe if you're not already. You can do ratings and reviews in iTunes, or if you're not an iPhone user, you can do that over at podchaser.com, or some other podcast download apps will let you do that too. But podchaser.com is a great place to do that as well. And we love getting that feedback from people. And just look at those sweet, sweet stars. It's great to have 5 stars all in a row. It's always nice and pretty.
Just a heads up for all of you. We are going to be out of town this coming week and into next weekend. We are planning on taking our stuff with us to hopefully do a recording while we are out of town. But just know that one may be a little shorter or a little less.
Or a little not existing.
There it is. or it may not happen.
We will as soon as we know, we'll put that on our social media. So this is, if you're not following us yet, this is a good time to do it, because we will make sure as many people know as possible if an episode isn't coming next week. But other than that, we like I said, thank you for being here. I hope you continue to follow us.
Hope you guys have a happy 4th.
Yeah, have a safe and happy 4th of July. Have a happy birthday. Oh, wait, that's just me.
Oh, my gosh. Jeez Louise.
And while you're celebrating my birthday, you've got your piece of birthday cake, and you're sitting on the couch, or maybe you're sitting outside and you're getting ready to enjoy some pre-4th of July fireworks, because sometimes people do that on my birthday.
But really, we know they're doing it for Rich.
Yeah. They're like, we gotta. It's close enough. Let's go ahead and get the fireworks going. But if you're watching some Rich's birthday fireworks and eating your cake and enjoying some watermelon Kool-Aid, just don't forget, you're the boss.
So watch, I guess, and drink whatever you want.
No, it has to be watermelon Kool-Aid.
Oh, okay. So watch whatever you want.
Okay, bye.
Bye.